Good evening. Welcome to the Yorktown Central School District Board of Education meeting for December 18, 2017. Can I have a motion to go into executive session for the employment history of particular individuals and contractual negotiations?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Can I have a motion to go back into public session?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Good evening, everyone. First, thank you for being patient. Welcome to the Yorktown Central School District Board of Education meeting for December 18th, 2017. Can we please stand for the pledge given by Haley and Sharik, and then remain standing for a moment of silence for our armed forces and those in our community who have lost loved ones, especially the father-in-law of Linda Arco and the father-in-law of Jessica Lacalzi.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Dr. Roberts, thank you for welcoming us to your house, your school. We're going to start with public comment. Is there anybody who wishes to speak on agenda-related items only? Okay. We are going to move right to good news. Dr. Hatter?
Wow, what a great audience tonight. Thank you so much for coming out. It is so wonderful to see so many friendly faces. Welcome. We're here for the viewing audience. We're here at Crompond School as the Board of Education takes their meetings on the road, and they've made an effort this year to visit each of our schools and hold at least one meeting in each of our schools. So tonight we're here at our fifth and final school for our good news presentation here at Crompond. So I am going to turn the program over to Dr. Roberts. We have many students here. It's so wonderful to see them, and I love the costumes, and I have a feeling the board is in for their own Esteam challenge tonight.
Welcome to Crompond, everyone. Good evening, Dr. Hatter, Mrs. O'Shea, Mr. Cole, Mrs. Carbone, Mr. Magnani, and our Board of Education trustees. We are honored to be sharing Crompond School's good news with all of you this evening. Our goals are to highlight how our work continually is focused on the Board of Education goals as outlined in Dr. Hatter's 2020 vision for 2020. Our work centers on cultivating empathy, celebrating creativity and innovation, promoting critical thinking and authentic inquiry, and providing opportunities to nurture one's ambitions in pursuit of developing students who have the capacity to influence change in the world. As a national district of character, our work has always been focused on explicitly teaching and modeling how to cultivate empathy for our students, our families, and our staff. We are more cognizant of how empathy supports all aspects of teaching and learning, most especially with our Esteam work. Our school community is invested in the principles of Esteam and the United Nations Sustainable Goals as they promote a platform for our students to think deeply and critically about world problems while embracing, valuing, and honoring the thinking of others, which further supports why we are a national district of character. This work is ongoing and deeply rooted into the fiber of who we are and what is modeled by all of you each day. The work to be presented this evening is generated by our students and facilitated by our teachers as they continually think beyond the classroom walls and work collaboratively with our children to solve real-world problems. Harriet Tubman stated, "Every great dream begins with the dreamer. Always remember, you have within you the strength, the patience, and the passion to reach for the stars and to change the world." Our children, with the guidance of our staff and parents, are working towards the message in this quote and our 2020 vision for 2020. Our students and staff want to share with you how they are asking big questions about the world around us and how they have the power to impact changing the world that we so much love and need. We proudly present our Esteam team, who are going to showcase the wonderful work of our students and staff. And our Esteam team consists of Mrs. Burns, Mrs. Columbos, Mrs. Kivel, Mrs. Finaro, Mrs. Flora, Mrs. Shyland, Mrs. Crescimano, Mr. Flanagan, Mr. Chaffee, and myself. So I proudly present our work. I'm going to have a microphone holder.
Good evening. My name is Catherine.
And my name is Emily. We are empathetic students.
I can be a global citizen. I consider the needs of our human family. I think of solutions to world's problems.
I work collaboratively with all my peers. I can walk in someone else's shoes.
My name is Emma.
My name is Daniel.
We are scientists. I conduct and observe the outcomes. I ask questions.
As a scientist, I explore the world and share my discoveries. I use tools to solve problems.
Hi, I'm Courtney.
Hi, I'm Ryan. We are technologists.
I
use technology to share my ideas. I research to solve problems.
I develop new ideas and designs. I explore and make connections.
I'm Peter.
I'm Gavin.
We are engineers.
I observe and wonder. I construct new inventions.
I discover and create original ideas. I design innovative solutions.
Hi, I'm Evan.
Hi, I'm Maddie, and we are artists.
I use my imagination. I find beauty in the world.
I share my ideas and artwork. I design and create with an artistic perspective. Hi, I'm Stephanie.
And I'm Julia.
And we are mathematicians. I discover patterns in the world around me. I estimate and explain my answers.
I solve real-world problems. I utilize geometric concepts in my designs.
Good evening. We are now going to let you experience the process that our students go through when participating in an Esteam challenge. So one of the things we do is we give our children an essential question. And so our question for this project is, what makes a structure strong and stable?
Good evening. The scenario that is presented to the children is the following. As a result of recent catastrophic storms, like those that occurred in Texas and Puerto Rico, engineers are looking for a new design that will keep citizens safe from flooding and hurricane-force winds.
Your task is to build a structure that will support a sphere above the flood zone. The structure itself must be sturdy enough to hold the sphere in place. You will imagine that people will be living inside the sphere, so you must account for the fact that the sphere will have some weight. Whatever structure you build, it must be able to support the sphere.
In a classroom situation, students had several class periods to complete this task. You will not. The children followed the engineering design process seen on this slide. They asked questions to understand the task and to gather helpful facts by researching. While imagining a solution, they brainstormed possible design strategies. Next, a blueprint for their design was planned by sketching, and at last they were able to collaborate and create their structure. Most importantly, they were given time after the task was done to reflect and to improve their models.
Use the following guidelines as you build your model. Your materials will be 20 pieces of newspaper, 3 feet of masking tape, and the sphere. A yardstick will be used for measurement purposes only. Your structure must be at least 3 feet tall in order to keep the sphere out of the floodwaters. Your structure must be sturdy enough to hold the sphere unassisted for 20 seconds. You will have 5 minutes to complete this task.
When we present the students with an Esteam challenge, we provide resources for them to use for their research. In the slide presentation that was shared with you, there is a link to a website that will help you design your structure. If you don't mind, can you please divide yourselves up among the 2 tables and sit in groups of 5 or 6? Yeah, all of you. No, but everyone.
Tempo.
integral part of the team.
We didn't play well.
Valuable members of the team.
Valuable contributions to our team.
That was cute.
Upon completion of the activity, the teacher gathers her students for a reflective discussion about their designs and would ask the following questions. What worked well? What would you change? What did you learn? And sometimes the next steps. Reflection is a vital piece of the Esteam process. It provides students time to share, process, and develop new ideas to improve their design. And now I'm going to turn it over to the children.
Hello, I'm Caitlin. Congratulations. In this task, you have demonstrated each of the letters in the acronym Esteam. E stands for empathy. You've developed a structure to protect our human family from an environmental catastrophe.
My name is Shark. The S in Esteam stands for science. As a scientist, you explored a real-world physics problem by asking questions and trying to answer them through observation and experimentation.
Hi, I'm Haley. The T in Esteam stands for technology. You researched real-world structures to explore and develop new solutions to a problem.
I am Corey. The E in Esteam stands for engineering. You designed and created a new structure.
Hi, I'm Brady. The A in Esteam stands for art. You sketched a design to enhance the beauty and balance of a structure.
I am Kyle, and the M in Esteam stands for mathematics. You applied your knowledge of geometric concepts when building your structure.
We would like to present each of you with a gift to thank you for believing in and supporting the Esteam program for our district.
Please keep this Esteam expression in mind. Whether the problem be big or be small, keep a growth mindset. There is a solution for all.
Walk this way. You know who to go to? You go to your mom?
Thank you, my love.
Thank you.
Thank you. Say hi to Mr. Mignani.
No cheating involved.
Thank you. Oh, that's great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And Mrs. Carbone. Say hi to Miss Carbone.
These are adorable.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Aren't they wonderful? Let's give them all a round of applause. Mrs. Carbone, Mr. Mignani, and Board of Education trustees, we are honored and privileged to learn from you each day. You all exemplify the district's motto, come to learn, leave to lead, and serve. We thank you for serving our community and most importantly, our children. You are our role models as you clearly demonstrate empathy and compassion for all. I think our board needs a round of applause. Thank you to our staff for your innovative teaching and ongoing learning. All staff who joined us this evening, please stand and be recognized. All staff, stand. And our most precious gifts, thank you to our students for your love of learning and passion for helping others. You make this work every day wonderful, and we thank you sincerely for that. A round of applause for our children. And thank you to our family and friends who joined us this evening. Our partnership paves the way for our children. All board meetings, I've asked staff members, rather families and friends, to stand up. They never want to. Do you want to be trendsetters and all stand up tonight? Families, friends, stand up. It's okay if you don't want to. Dr. Hatter, Mrs. O'Shea, and Mr. Cole, thank you for your leadership. You inspire us each day. Our Crompond family wishes all of you a healthy, joyous, and peaceful holiday season filled with family and love. And we do have a final quote that we'd like to direct your attention to. We are born makers. We move what we're learning from our heads to our hearts through our hands. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Roberts. The one person you didn't acknowledge was yourself, and it's something that I think we ought to do because you do a tremendous job in leading Crompond School. It was absolutely wonderful for our Board of Education, for our community to see what Esteam really is all about. And as we were working together, certainly I can speak for our group, the conversations that took place and the roles that were assumed and the trial and the error and the learning and the failing and the growth that just happened in that 5-minute window was remarkable. So to see our students learning in an environment like this throughout the course of the school day and throughout their educational experience in the Yorktown schools, it's really inspiring, and it's something that I'm so proud of. Crompond School has really done such a remarkable job in leading this work and leading it forward. So my commendation to all of the teachers here, all the staff members here at Crompond. You're such an impressive group. Okay, so before we break, we typically take a recess after the good news, but we have some more good news to celebrate with you. As you know, on November 20th, Dr. Roberts became the second Dr. Roberts in her family. She successfully defended her dissertation, or third, well, no, it's going to be third, right? It's going to be 3. Okay. So we would like to honor Dr. Roberts this evening. I'd like to say a few words, and Mrs. O'Shea would like to say a few words, and I thought it was great for our students here to see even their principal is still learning and continues to learn and continues to move on in school. So I'm going to turn it over to Mrs. O'Shea, who will address you from the podium.
Good evening, everyone. As Dr. Hatter shared, we are here to honor and recognize somebody that we know works so hard for our district, and that is Dr. Lori Roberts. I just want to share a couple of words with you about Dr. Roberts. In the 10 years that I've worked here in Yorktown, Dr. Roberts has been my teaching and learning partner throughout this journey. We brainstorm together, we plan, we think, we learn from each other, and it has been truly an honor and a blessing for me to have that opportunity. I was so privileged to watch and proud to watch Dr. Roberts go through the entire doctoral program. I had the privilege to be present when she defended her research at her dissertation proposal. She did it brilliantly with professionalism, with pride. She was articulate, and she was absolutely wonderful. You are a joy, you are a pleasure, but even more importantly, in this journey that was quite a tremendous undertaking and took years to do, she never took her eye off her main responsibility, which are the children, the parents, and the staff of Crompond School and Yorktown Central School District. So I thank you for your dedication, and I am certainly so honored to call you Dr. Lori Roberts.
Excuse me for having my back to the audience. I apologize for that in advance. So thank you all for coming out. There are so many faculty members here in attendance, and if you want to know about Dr. Roberts, that's all you need to know. Her faculty means so much to her. She always gives all the credit back to her faculty, and they're here tonight to support you, Dr. Roberts. So thank you to Dr. Roberts' family for coming out. Just please wave so that we know so everyone can see you here. You don't get through something like this without the love and support of a strong family, and whenever I spoke to Dr. Roberts about her family, she always spoke so fondly and so proudly of her children, of Dr. Roberts. It's something that means so much to her. So I'd like to just let the audience know there are countless hours spent researching and writing and revising, and not to mention the many sleepless nights, the great frustration when your advisor picks apart your work, and then after years of going through a program, of giving all of yourself to that work, you get to experience this wonderful joy. And you get to experience the joy of hitting the mountaintop. And Dr. Roberts, congratulations on achieving the mountaintop. You deserve it. I wish you nothing but continued success and continued learning as well. Now, we have something for you, and it's an orchid. And there's a reason why an orchid was picked. Not that you especially love orchids because you just love everything beautiful. Do you really? So that was a coincidence. The reason why I have an orchid here for you is it's the most highly coveted ornamental plant. It's delicate, exotic, and graceful, and it represents love, luxury, beauty, and strength, all of the things that you've demonstrated during the road to your doctorate. So I present you with this beautiful orchid, as well as a certificate of recognition signed by myself and by the president of our Board of Education, Jackie Carbone, and it reads, Certificate of Recognition presented to Dr. Lori Roberts in recognition of Dr. Roberts' outstanding achievement in completing her doctorate, dated tonight, December 18th, 2017. Dr. Roberts, I'm so proud. I'm so happy for you. From the moment that we met in my office for that entry meeting that lasted almost 90 minutes or so, I just remember leaving that meeting saying, wow, this is such a special person, and there's so many things that I look forward to getting to know about you, and I really look forward to our journey and working together. Congratulations, Dr. Roberts.
I guess I'm the last one. See if we can embarrass you a little bit more. We are so proud of you, though. You have always been the epitome of a professional in this district. You show the students that you can continually learn and achieve, and you always do it at the highest standards, but you're always so innovative. We had the wonderful opportunity to walk through some of your rooms today and to see your Esteam lab, and we know that this building is because of your passion and everything that you have done. And you have done that alongside achieving another milestone in your life with getting a doctorate. I don't know how you did it. It's amazing, and we're just proud of you. You are a model for everybody in this district of what they can achieve, and we just wish you everything that's best in life, so thank you. Well, that was a wonderful celebration, and again, our kids in Yorktown are some of the most impressive, even though Mike did cheat.
I don't think so. It's not about winning. I don't
think you want that on record.
It's about the process of problem solving as a group.
Who's on the same team as Mike?
I'm just saying, the adults did a lot on our team, okay?
Just not enough.
But I like the challenge, it was good, so thank you very much. And again, I want to thank Crompond for welcoming us here, and again, we got to walk their spaces, and they were amazing, so we were lucky. We're up to Superintendent's Report, go ahead.
Sure. So it's so wonderful to see Esteam taking hold and being embraced in all of our schools, by our students, by our community. It is just such a rewarding feeling. We just announced that our Esteam Logo Design Challenge winner was Ryan Seraphin, who is a junior at Yorktown High School. I met with Ryan to tell him he was the winner, and he was a little surprised that he won, and I told him that his submission received almost half of the votes, and the other 6 submissions split almost equally. So Mrs. O'Shea, Mr. Cole, Mr. DeGennaro, and I will be having lunch on Wednesday as part of our celebration with Ryan Seraphin and his parents. They'll be joining us on Wednesday. We also, for all the other students who submitted logo designs, Saturday morning, Mrs. O'Shea and I hosted hot chocolate and cookies for those students. So we had a couple dozen students, a little bit more than 2 dozen students come out and enjoy the hot chocolate, enjoy the cookies, and they saw all of the logos hanging throughout my office, and they just walked through, they found their logo, talked a little bit about their design, talked a little bit about the holidays. It was great to welcome our students here Saturday morning. The holiday concerts are over. Dr. McGinnis, Ms. O'Shea, and I attended every one of them, I would say, and they were absolutely wonderful. Our students are so talented. What an absolutely great concert, one after the other. So I'm so thrilled to be able to come out, hear our bands, hear our chorus, hear our orchestra. Just absolutely wonderful. The one thing that I do want to point out is during the last 2-hour snow delay, many of the families, I should say, received 2 calls. I just want to clarify as to why that happened, so that if there's any confusion as to why you received 2 calls, I can just help you to understand that. So the first call, Mr. Cole and I were texting really early that morning, and I had asked Mr. Cole to make the call. He did, and then 37 minutes later, I hadn't received my call, and as a parent in the district, I found that a bit odd. And as we ran the analytics, Mr. Cole shared with me that about 10%, or about 400 families, had not received that first call due to a glitch in the system that we haven't been able to identify. However, we were able to correct it moving forward. We sent out the second call, and that was received by all of our families in the community. So I do apologize for those who did receive 2 calls, but it was really important to make sure that all of our families received the notification that our schools were on a 2-hour delay. Going forward, you can expect to receive 1 phone call, 1 email, and on Twitter as well. We're certainly active. And finally, the holiday recess is upon us at the end of this week. Our schools will be in recess next week and Monday of the following week, and we'll return to schools on Tuesday, January 2nd. That concludes my report.
Awesome. So we're going into our education report.
So So one of the things, just to share with the community, one of the things that we really have taken in stride has been flexible seating, and Crompond School is at the forefront of the flexible seating. The New York State School Boards Association visited Crompond School to actually run a feature on us. They're running a 2-minute feature video statewide on the Esteam work that's happening here in Yorktown, and one of the aspects of the Esteam work that they'll also be focusing on in that video is this idea of flexible seating, which is gaining popularity, and for due reason it's gaining popularity. So this evening, Mrs. O'Shea will share some of the steps we've taken, some of the behind-the-scenes work, and some of the educational benefits of flexible seating. So at this point, I'll turn it over to Mrs. O'Shea for the education report.
Where are you most comfortable? There is no podium.
We have flexible seating here. So big from it.
We have flexible podiums.
Just like I needed help with
No pressure.
Good evening, everyone. I know that earlier this evening the board had an opportunity to visit some of the classrooms at Crompond School and look at some of the flexible learning settings that we have in the building. I did want to provide a little bit of clarity around flexible learning spaces, what that means from an instructional perspective, and to provide a little bit of an understanding of how this is being used in various places throughout the district. So when we talk about flexible learning spaces, we talk about the opportunity to provide a variety of spaces that can be used for specific learning tasks and activities. In some cases, this may mean students move around, they work at tables, they work on the floor, maybe on a yoga mat, they have small group settings where they can come together. It's really an environment that is set up based on the needs of the specific group of students and the learning task that they have. Everything that we do in Yorktown from a curriculum and instructional perspective really is grounded in the work of our 2020 vision statement, which talks about Yorktown Central School District cultivating empathy, nurture creativity and innovation, promote critical thinking and authentic inquiry, and provide opportunities to unleash one's ambitions. All of this is in the pursuit of developing students who have a capacity to influence change in the world. With this being our vision and being at the forefront of our work that keeps us grounded, there's certainly lots of questions we ask ourselves. How can we develop students who will influence change in the world? What instructional practices and curriculum planning work are necessary to prepare all students for 21st century skills?
and to practices needed to assimilate and contribute to a global society? And can our learning spaces be designed with student engagement and interaction in mind? Because in order to have 21st century skills, which are collaboration, problem solving, learning to work as a team, creative thinking, inquiry, we really need to be able to be sure that our students are engaged in meaningful opportunities and interactions within the classroom setting. One of the ways that this is done is through what's called personalized learning opportunities. This is something that's not new to our district, not new in education. This past curriculum council meeting that we had last week, which is a representative group of about 60 faculty members from our various schools and all departments and all of our administrators, we read an article called Orchestrating the Move to Student-Driven Learning. And I had an opportunity to see the speaker, the author of this article that we read at a BOCES conference about a week and a half ago. In this article and in her presentation, she defined personalized learning as a progressively student-driven model in which students deeply engage in meaningful, authentic, and rigorous challenges to promote desired outcomes. Talked a lot about personalizing your learning really varies based on the goals of the lesson and the needs of the student. So there's not one approach that you're going to use with any given lesson. It's going to change based on what your goals are for the students and the level of individualization they may need. So much of what we talked at Curriculum Council really had to do with what are the 7 key elements of personalized learning that a teacher can arrange on a spectrum from more teacher-driven to more student-driven and anywhere on that continuum. So we talked about such areas of instructional planning as goal setting, inquiry and idea, task and audience, evaluation, feedback, instructional plan, and demonstration of learning. In this meeting, we had an opportunity to really brainstorm and share what teachers are currently doing around personalized learning and to think of other ways that we could create more lessons that are student-driven as opposed to teacher-directed. The goal with personalized learning is to intentionally develop in students the skills to pose questions, to gather information, to examine problems through multiple viewpoints, to create, imagine, and innovate, to communicate clearly, to think flexibly, and to persist through challenges. And that goes very closely to our 2020 vision when we're asking our students to nurture creativity and innovation, and we're asking them to think critically. As you saw from the challenge today at the Crompond Good News, that's part of our practice that we're doing. Ultimately, we want to provide opportunities for students to drive their own learning. So how do we do this? One of the ways that we do this is to have flexible learning spaces. There's a lot to be said about providing an environment where students are comfortable within the setting and then they have an option to choose how they can do their best work. So some students might prefer a stand-up desk or a beanbag chair. When we're giving students an opportunity through flexible learning spaces, we're allowing them to have voice and choice in the learning process. There's certainly a lot to be said on the impacts of movement on learning when it comes from how students will be more focused on staying on task. They will be more involved in the learning if they have breaks during which they can get a little bit of movement through the day. The emphasis on flexible learning spaces is to provide an opportunity for students to come together and collaborate in a comfortable setting and work on collaborative problem-solving projects where they can build relationships. Also, flexible learning spaces can be adapted for independent learning when needed. So a flexible learning space is certainly set up in a way that we can collaborate with small groups of students, but it can also be used where students can sit individually with their books, with their Chromebooks, and they can certainly do individual tasks as well. When teachers give a test in some of these settings, a lot of times they have a privacy board that will be put out around the students so that there will be an opportunity for a little bit more privacy as you're taking an exam. Flexible learning spaces foster an instructional shift to a more student-centered environment and teaching process. It all comes back to the flexibility and planning. Here are a couple of examples. In the first slide picture, there is that is the middle school makerspace room
What you see there, and in some other areas of the room, you don't see it too clearly here, there are whiteboards on the wall in various spaces. Those tables have a whiteboard surface so students can work together, and they can utilize all of that to share ideas, to brainstorm. In the setting on the picture on the right, that's a picture from Crompond or Brookside, I'm not sure which, that just shows different comfort seating at a low table for students who prefer to sit in that type of a setting versus a higher table. Part of what makes the flexible learning settings and learning spaces is that you really need to incorporate mobile technology. This style of learning, this style of teaching, this style of planning lessons really is so enhanced by our Chromebook one-to-one initiative that we have opportunities for our students to be able to collaborate through Google Docs, to work together on a certain project, to create presentations together. We teach digital literacy through our mobile technology. We can share content and we can interpret information. When a teacher is considering flexible classroom spaces and ways to provide more options for students within that setting, there's lots of questions that they need to ask themselves. What changes will make the space more student-centered? What spaces might I need to support various types of activities? What will the impact be on classroom management? What might I need to consider in order to meet the needs of different types of learners? And how can the new spaces encourage mindfulness and moving in the classroom? We can have anywhere from high, medium, and low seating. You can have a couch, you could have seat cushions, you could have camp chairs, small rugs, yoga mats, stand-up tables. You really want to know your learners. So if you have students at the primary level who really are used to being at home and laying on the carpet and reading a book from that position, having yoga mats in the class for them to have that opportunity to be that comfortable when they're reading for pleasure within the classroom is certainly something that we want to have available. Here's a couple of other photos. On the right, you'll see, again, this is the middle school learning makerspace, and you can see that the students are using the table as the whiteboard. They're problem solving, they're brainstorming together, and they're working on completing a task. And the picture on the right is certainly, that is our high school robotics club, and they are making use of all the space on the floor for their activity. So evolving the classroom space to meet students' individual needs impacts how they learn, how they interact, and it impacts the entire classroom experience. It's a new way of thinking about teaching. It's a way of providing an opportunity to provide more student voice and student choice in education so that they are more engaged. And I end with this quote, "Alone we can do so little, together we can do so much." And that's really where we're hoping our students will learn to be collaborative partners in all that they do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you have any questions?
That was wonderful. Cheryl, did you have any questions?
No, I would like to comment, in going through all the schools over the past months, it's impressive to see all of the different apparatus to accommodate all of the different learning styles, and you really have to see it and be there to really understand what it's like for a child to be able to have so many different options. So it's just really breathtaking when you see it all, and it's just amazing how quickly we've developed into this, only having my kids go through the schools and still being here, and where we've come and where we are now, and how quickly that happened. So it's very impressive.
And I think, it's important to point out, too, that even within a classroom setting where the furniture is more traditional, such as individual student desks, those desks can be arranged and rearranged for collaborative student work. Students, I've been into classrooms where students are just comfortable sitting on a small piece of carpet on the floor, even though the rest of the classroom has traditional desks, and it's just becoming a little bit more and more widespread.
Tom?
Just another comment, obviously the kids are getting a lot of benefit out of this, but I see a lot of this kind of flexible space in the corporate world as well, so we're clearly also preparing them for what they'll be seeing, later on, so it's really a nice learning experience for them that's going to help them later.
No questions. It was just wonderful to see the spaces this evening. Absolutely wonderful. Thank you.
Mike?
No, I was just going to mimic what
Tom said, because when you get out into the corporate world, there are no structured workspaces, desks, cubicles. It is all open, relaxed, and it truly does foster a different work ethic, a different engagement level. So I applaud. That's fabulous stuff.
Yeah. Hi, Lisa. Just a question. I love how we're always innovative, ahead of the curve. This district, with everything we do, it's fantastic. Always forward thinking. Just so with the flexible space that we have, because I envision if I was that age, I'd walk in and say, dibs on the couch. So you just give us a little mindset of how that works when they come in and not scramble all over the place, so people think it's not one mad rush towards the chair that they want, and also how they maybe have to switch chairs or seats.
It all comes down to classroom management and how the teacher sets up the roles and responsibilities of the students within that setting. So you will have classroom management and a teacher organizing their classroom in regardless of what type of a style model of teaching they're doing. So it comes down to the teacher taking responsible risks and understanding where their students are and able to provide a little bit more freedom over time. So it's not something that day one of school is necessarily really easy.
And they have to kind of try every seat? She was saying?
It depends on the teacher. Again, that was one teacher who
different
shared that she allows students to get a feel for different places that they're most comfortable in within her classroom. But there are other opportunities or times during the day where for a specific lesson with a specific goal, one student might be, they're doing math and the student's using manipulatives, he might be a student who needs to do that standing at a stand-up desk because that's how he wants to move all of the manipulatives around, whereas if it's a reading assignment, that same student might want to be in a softer, more comfortable beanbag chair. It becomes part of a classroom community to navigate those kind of interactions and understanding that everybody might need to be flexible in where they have an opportunity to sit.
One more curious question. So we're at 5th grade right now. Do we envision any higher than 5th? I mean, how far will that go?
So this type of environment can work, within the K-12 environment, as it is working in the business setting as well. So we do see it really having taken hold in our 2 primaries and here at Crompond. In the middle school, what you'll see is some classrooms with the more of the traditional desks. However, they're grouped and regrouped for certain lessons. The makerspace is the middle school's one core room that really the students filter in through for that. And in the high school, you'll see some opportunities for that flexible environment. If you were to look in, let's say, science research, there's a couple of couches the students are working on and collaborating. So it's coming. It's just really seems to have taken hold right now at our K-5.
Thank you. Thank you.
And then my only comment is I'm so glad that we are getting away from the one-size-fits-all for students, because they don't learn, from your special ed, they don't learn one-size-fits-all, and that we can accommodate them, and that the staff is so open and accommodating to allow that is just going to enhance their learning experience so much more. So I thank you for helping lead that.
And I certainly can appreciate the mindset change that needs to happen with our teachers and the fact that they're embracing this, slowly in a way that makes sense for them and their students. And it's certainly a different way of looking at teaching and looking at classroom space and understanding teacher-centered or teacher-directed learning versus, giving students some better voice and opportunity.
I think that we're well ahead of that. I think our teachers are become very accommodating and very aware of doing that, and I'm thankful for all of them, because I think that they are looking out for the best interests of the students, and they are pushing their own envelopes in a lot of ways. So it's wonderful to see. So thank you.
And the flexible seating piece is wonderful in that when we look at the skills that are going to be required of workers in 2020, and this is from the Future of Jobs report from the World Economic Forum, the top 10 skills that they'll be looking for in 2020 are complex problem solving, critical thinking, creativity, people management, coordinating with others, emotional intelligence, judgment and decision making, service orientation, negotiation, and cognitive flexibility. It's really tough to attain those skills sitting in rows and columns. So it's just a testament to the wonderful faculty and staff here and in all of our schools. And this is something that is taking hold, and as was mentioned previously, this is not going away. This is in the workforce. This is the way the world works at this point, and it's great to see the educational environment meeting that.
Thank you. Okay. We're up to our personnel agenda. Okay. Upon recommendation of the superintendent, a motion that the following be approved. We have, under certified personnel, we have other compensation, a leave of absence. Under classified personnel, we have a civil service appointment, additions to the substitute list, and a removal from the substitute list.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we're up to board reports. Audit committee, Tom?
Yes, so we have the ongoing risk management internal audit, as well as Tom Cole's team is running an RFP to select a new external auditor. Our old auditor contract came to its end, so that is in progress. And Tom, I think you said we'll have some bids to evaluate sometime in January or maybe later this month?
Yes, the proposal deadline is Friday for both the external auditor and the internal claims auditor.
Oh, and the claims auditor as
Right.
well. Right, good.
And the claims auditor is only because he's taking a leave of absence from us or leaving us?
He is. His last day with us will be at the end of this week.
And that's because his business, he didn't not like us, his business is just getting busy in
His
tax
partner
season.
left him and his
Yeah.
CPA business is overwhelmed, yeah.
Okay. All right. Fiscal advisory, Mike?
So Fiscal Advisory Committee met right before Thanksgiving. I want to say it was the 16th.
Something like that.
Yep. And we reviewed some stuff in preparation for our budget season. We looked at the reserve fund report and some of the supporting documents for that. We looked at how enrollment has affected us year to date. We're kind of above where we had projected by a good number. We looked at savings that we are getting from the educational data services, which was positive year to date, about $175,000. We looked at projections on the property tax cap and the what the allowance might be for this year and how that would impact us, along with some of the appropriation reports. So.
And the TRS.
And the TRS numbers, yep, which are going to have a big impact as well on our budget process. So we're, as always, in good fiscal shape, but we only get there by proper management and budgeting, and Tom and his team are already underway with this year's numbers. So we'll have more once that's moved along.
Okay. Thank you. Policy?
Policy, we met last on December 12th. And about a year and a half ago when we started this, we had a goal of reviewing 10 policies per meeting, and we were right in line with that. After the last meeting, tonight we'll be adopting 7 new policies. We have 1 deletion and 4 first reads. And we're meeting again on January 9th. So we're right on track of our goal where we set a year and a half ago, and we're moving right along.
Yep. We jumped in policy. So we went to the back of the list because the middle of the pack is hard during budget season for admin. So we're kind of working backwards.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. We'll fill it in later.
Yeah, just to confuse you, right?
But we're still getting through them.
Right. And steering committee, the Brookside parking lot is just about ready to go up to SED for its approval. We are working on the capital project list. We're trying to get some numbers attached to the important items to see what we can fit in and what we can't for an approval at the budget vote this year. Also, Tom is getting ready to send out 2 more RFPs because I think he's in RFP mode. For the capital projects, we have to do one for the architect and one for the construction manager.
Construction management to do the capital reserve projects. Both of those will go out on the street Thursday.
Thursday, yes. So you're in RFP mode, we know. So those are all of our board reports. We can go to board action items. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes for the November 13th and the December 4th meetings?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Treasurer's report, a motion to approve the treasurer's report for November 2017.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Claims audit report, a motion to approve the claims audit report for November 2017.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, there's no way we're going to ever get away from POs after for some of these items, because those are what our exceptions are at this point, right?
Are you talking about the confirming purchase orders?
Yeah.
If we consider those things for educational data services, there's no way around that. As we explained, I don't know if you remember the explanation we provided, for the most part was that educational data services, which is a cooperative bidding service, which Mr. Mignani referred to before, which has saved us about over $150,000 in the current year, requires that we get into a queue for the next school year. So after the budget's approved, we produce purchase orders in May that aren't designed to be executed until after July 1st. But that's the only way we can get in the queue to have materials delivered by the start of school.
And those were the exceptions in this report, is
They
there?
are.
Okay. All right. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion to accept the extra classroom activity fund report for November 2017.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Policy adoption, a motion to approve the second reading and the adoption of the following policies: 2521 school board member attendance at conferences, 6700 purchasing, the purchasing regulation to go with it, 6710 purchasing authority, 6740 purchasing procedures, and the regulation to go along with that, and 6741 contracting for professional services.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? A policy deletion. Be it resolved that the following policies shall be deleted from the policy manual because it is unnecessary as it is governed under law, and that is 9160 personnel records.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And we have first readings of the following policies: 9000 personnel policy goals, 9140 board staff communications, 9150 staff student relations, and 9240 recruiting and hiring. And just so you know, as we go through these, some of them we have already done, and maybe not these, but others we're going to be redoing because personnel keeps changing on us. Not our personnel, but the rules, and so it just seems that the policies have to constantly be updated. So if you keep seeing them, it's because we're working hard. All right, business. A motion to accept with gratitude the donation of a used construction trailer from Aris Contracting.
So moved.
Second. Discussion?
Go ahead.
For what?
Because it's ours after so many years of being permanent in there. And if you will wait for the next motion, you'll understand why we had to accept it first.
Okay.
So the next motion is a motion to declare the following equipment as surplus with some value. All equipment has reached its useful life expectancy, is damaged, or has been upgraded in excess, but retains a monetary value and will be auctioned via Auctions International. And there is the following list, along with your said trailer.
Yeah, very nice.
Second.
Okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Allowance disbursements, a motion to approve the allowance disbursement below. This is the Thompson Lock and Supply, which is for the Mohansick hardware that's currently being undergone.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? A motion to approve the following budget transfers, as you see below.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ed Data resolved on recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education hereby approves the contract with Ed Data Services in the amount of $8,540 for bidding services for the 18-19 school year, including time and material. The board hereby authorizes and empowers the board president to execute an agreement with Ed Data Services for the same.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Health and welfare, a motion to establish the 2017-18 pupil rate of $1,173.61 for health and welfare services to non-resident pupils attending non-public schools within the Yorktown Central School District.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Best Web, resolved upon recommendation of the superintendent, the Board of Ed approves the contract with Best Web Corporation to install a single-mode yellow armored fiber optic cable between the high school MDF and the press box. Copy of this contract shall be incorporated by reference to the minutes of the meeting. The proposal is made under the New York State OGS contract.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. We are putting fiber out to the press box Can you just explain why it's not just for games?
Sure, there's, the original idea for this came out of emergency planning scenarios. To be able to, not to get too far into the detail of what we do for emergency planning, but it's critical for communication in such events.
Okay. And this is being paid for through the Smart Schools Bond Act?
It is.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Our SUNY purchase, a motion to enter an agreement between the State University of New York Purchase and Yorktown Central School District for the use of the concert hall of the Performing Arts Center for the Yorktown High School graduation on June 23rd, 2018, at a fee of $13,000.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we're up to curriculum. Tips. A motion to approve the following Yorktown Congress of Teachers professional improvement proposals and the Yorktown Congress of Teachers professional improvement proposals for the CTA-TA unit.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Special ed placements, a motion to arrange the following special ed placements as of December 18th, 2017.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Gifts, grants, and donations. A motion to accept gratitude the following gifts, grants, and donations. Brookside, $38 from the Brookside PTA for a school trip. Crompond, $381.24 for the Crompond PTA, from the Crompond PTA for the purchase of recess equipment. And then we need to amend a donation we made last week, the last meeting, for a motion to amend with gratitude the following donation from December 4th, 2017 to the Yorktown High School. It's $110 from the Foundation for Excellence for the Yorktown High School Dance Company's Master Class. It should be Yorktown High School, $100 from the First Nighters.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we're up to board comment. Anthony, I'll
Public
start
comment.
with you.
Oh, no, board comment, sorry.
Board comment. Anthony, I'm going to start this way, because I started that way before.
Just to say that the kids were fantastic tonight. It was a great night. We got a gift. We built a house. It was fantastic. So congratulate Lori Roberts, too. It was a fantastic night for everybody.
Mike?
Yeah, big congratulations to Dr. Roberts, always special when one of our administrators continues along that path, and we won.
We won. No, I'm just kidding.
Cheater.
Congratulations to Dr. Roberts, and happy holidays to everybody.
Cheryl? Cheryl?
Yeah, I was going to say the exact same thing. Congratulations, Dr. Roberts. It's wonderful to have you here and to have you attain such an achievement, and happy holidays to everyone.
Okay. Tom?
Yes, I have some news to share with the board and the public. After quite a bit of consideration and reflection, I've decided it's time for me to resign from the board. I do this with a bit of a heavy heart, and it's very bittersweet, but the demands of my job in particular are getting more significant and will become even more of a strain on me in the coming year. So I think it just makes sense for me to step down. It's been almost 8 years. Very enjoyable 8 years. Certainly going to miss working with everyone here. But I think it's time to step aside and let one of the other community members step in and make a contribution. So.
Well, you are going to be missed, sir. We wish we didn't have to say it was okay. But we understand it. As with everybody, these are volunteer jobs. We have full-time jobs. You have a tremendous amount of travel. I know sometimes talking to you is hard based upon where you are in the world. And I do appreciate, because I know you've been struggling for many years, so I do appreciate that you stuck it out and that you've given us everything you can. You have been a valuable member, and you will be missed greatly.
Thank you.
Yeah. Tom, out of those 8 years I worked with on the board, with probably 6 of them, and you've always been a voice of reason, voice of compromise. You always challenged, but at the end of the day, you always had the district at the front of your heart. It's been a pleasure working with you and during the time, and you will be missed. So thank you very much.
That's exactly right. I'm very sad, very loved you are, and just all the best, and you'll be missed a lot.
Thank you, Anthony.
I mean, Pete did a great job summing it up, but yeah, we're definitely going to miss you, Tom, but I totally respect that you have other things to do in this world, as Jackie said, we all do, but good luck with all of that.
Thanks.
Really, best to you.
We will miss you. Wish you the best.
Thanks, Rick.
Be in touch.
Yeah, Pete's definitely summed it up, but you'll definitely be missed here. And I remember when I first started, it was nice to, you were very welcoming, and kind of filled me in and kept me up to date when I just was getting my feet wet. So I appreciate that, and I appreciate the past 2 years of all of your contributions. So thank you.
Thanks, Cheryl. I'm going to miss you guys.
Yeah, we're going to miss you. Pete's right, you are a voice of reason and a long time. Anybody else want to? You got it, you can.
Or if you don't mind, I would just like to say, Tom, it's been a real pleasure. You've been a real asset, somebody who's really helped to guide the future of the school district financially, and you've been a wonderful advocate. My kids were had the benefit of a lot of the years that you were part of the stewardship of the school district, and thank you.
Thanks, Tom.
Just want to thank you certainly for all of the time that you've put in over these 8 years, and certainly you will be missed, as everyone has shared, and I really thank you for your efforts to keep us moving in the right direction.
Thanks, Lisa.
Well, it was a great night. We had what a great presentation by our students. Congratulations to Dr. Roberts. And Tom, as the person who knows you the least amount of time in this room, I just felt a special connection immediately. And I really appreciate your support during our short time together. And I hope this isn't goodbye. I hope it's just goodbye for now.
I'm sure I'll see you around.
I'm sure we'll see you around. So I will miss you very much, Tom.
Can we make them stay on audit?
Community rep to audit.
No, I want to make them run audit.
Yeah, I can see that. You never
2
know.
years. But you know what? Part of what we saw tonight has a lot to do with you being on the board, and all we've achieved that have allowed our students to achieve and our staff to be as great as is part of your being part of our team. So you will be missed, and I do thank you for everything you've given us.
Thanks, Jackie.
Thank you. All right. And I guess at the next meeting, we'll have to figure out what we're doing. I'm getting good at it, but I don't like it. All right, we're up to public comment. Oh, did you guys want to say anything else, or are we good?
Just wanted to point out, I know there was some conversation about who won and didn't win during our design challenge. I do want to point out that it's not about who wins, it's about the collaborative nature of what happens. And I can speak to our group where we had 2 or 3 students helping us, and whereas we all went in as adults ignoring the whole engineering process, and we just went to all start moving and doing, one of the little girls certainly had an understanding of the process, and she says, I have a suggestion. And that's the piece that, we're really fostering in the students, to be able to share ideas and to speak and to get their point across. And as adults, I'm not sure if we carefully listened at that point because we were a little competitive.
Especially the losing team.
But we did win. We did.
It did get us
You
grounded.
let the kids do the work.
No. We listened to the suggestions
Dr.
as a
Hanna.
part of a team.
Will the logo be on the website?
Yes, the logo will be on the website, so here is the logo.
Oh, that's what I wanted.
So the logo will be on the website. This is the logo. It received so many votes. I've actually already had my first shirt made up with it. So I've shared the image with some people. So yeah, this will be
Very
everywhere.
cool.
I'm looking forward to really celebrating this logo. It's so well done. So well done.
Is it copyrighted? Mike wants to know.
Ooh, nice.
All right, we're up to public comment if there's anybody left wanting to speak. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, and everybody, happy holidays.
Holiday.